It's summer of 2013, and I decide it's time to kill some coyotes for their fur. I grab my bare bones basic AR-15 I bought for real cheap. I like the way the AK slings, so I made a ghetto sling point to put on the barrel. I then take the rifle and sling it to my right side around my neck, messenger bag style. I fire up my ATV and drive up to a cabin on the mountain. When I arrive, I take out the key of the ATV and start looking around. Previously, I'd thrown squirrel and rabbit guts into the woods to bring predators around. I check some of the bait I'd left around and it's all gone. I'd be getting a strange feeling as I checked the bait. This guy who lives on the mountain just down the road from the cabin leaves in his car. I decided I should look around in the woods. Every time I step, I keep thinking I hear another footstep shuffling through the grass and brush. Up ahead, I see a stick figure shape looking in the distance a little bit downhill from me. I wave at it. It slips behind a tree. Okay, goodbye. I turn around and walk back up to the cabin, decide to sit around and drink for a while. I start hearing coyote yelps and shit in the distance. I get my gat ready to blast a couple of foos. I sit with the lights off on the porch and nothing comes by. Then the yelping turns into a distant, "Help me." I look over to the neighbor's house and the lights are off. It doesn't click in my head that he'd left. I get up and listen. "Help me. Help me." Fuck. He must have broke his leg and is stuck in the woods with coyotes or some shit, I think to myself. I get close enough to the woods to tell it's on an ATV trail. I decide to take my ATV and AR and start driving towards the person saying "help me" when I come to a U-shaped dip in the path. I don't hit my brakes, I just coast down it. That's when I hear something right in front of me on the trail scream, "Help me!" And I freak my shit and try to turn. I flip my ATV and black out for a minute. I wake up under the ATV with it pinned on top of me. I sit still and wait for my eyes to adjust. I start feeling around and find my left hand is pinned under the ATV. I try pushing it, but I can't get it off. It's like it got 100 pounds heavier in a couple of seconds. The sling around my neck lets me know I still have my rifle. I drag it to me and realize my arm is bleeding. Check the gun over. The handguard is fucked and the stock's cracked, but it still appears to function. I've got 30 rounds to keep me safe until the night's over or someone finds me. I sit and listen closely to the sounds of the forest before I hear something shuffling in the grass that silences everything around. It's now dead quiet. I don't think I've felt more fear than I have at this moment. I hear it shuffling around. "Help me. Help me." I don't know if I should respond or sit in silence. Its shuffling gets closer. Something appears over the ATV, just like if you had fallen at a bar and the bartender looks at you funny. It looked like it was 9 feet tall. Frozen solid, I twiddle my fingers and reach for my gat. I brought it to my shoulder and sit there with it pointed at whatever the fuck it is. I don't want to look directly at it because fuck that. "Help me." I hear it climbing over the ATV. Looking away still, but something grabs my face. My thoughts race. Fuck, fuck, fuck. Mind is now blank. I'm fumbling for the trigger, but I can't find it. It slowly forces my head over, and I'm now face to face with this thing, and it's looking me in the eyes. It looked like how almost everyone describes them, like a version of Gollum that was addicted to crack and carved its own face up and had sunken cheeks and deep-set eyes. To this day, I've never smelled anything worse than the breath from that thing. Feel the flash suppressor from my AR bump into something. I remember I had aimed it at the thing. My brain finally reboots, and I scream as loud as I can. It screams back. I start yanking, not pulling or squeezing the trigger as fast as I can. The gun's going off, my ears are starting to ring. It grabs my hair and starts slamming my head into the ground as fast as it can. I'm still pulling the trigger as fast as I fucking can. It rips the gun from my hand and starts beating me with it. It's still screaming as loud as it can while beating me over the head with my own gun. Lights start flickering through the woods. I'm about to black out when I hear something louder than the screaming. I swear I saw the thing's head fly open. It drops my gun, screams like a child that's been shoved in an oven, and runs for it. It had dropped my gun about 10 feet from my head. The light's getting closer, and I don't know if I'm dying or being saved. Hey, hold on! Something's tugging my arm. I look over, and it's the guy who lived down the road. He's got a huge revolver. We're talking Magnum Research BFR here. I black out. When I awoke, I was in a hospital bed. I'd had a fuck ton of stitches sewn into my head. When I got out, I asked my neighbor what he saw that night. He replied, "A bear. We get them often up here." To this day, I'm not entirely convinced that I was nearly beaten to death with my own gun by a bear.